Hello everyone, I'm Bodine Victoria. Welcome to my kitchen and this is my pot. It's the holiday season here in the Bahamas, so I decided to take a little break from my traditional Bahamian Basics series to bring you just a few recipes that you can use to add a little bit of variation and spice to your holiday season. And of course, Bodine Pot is sponsored by Showman E-Bistro. Showman E-Bistro is the family meal kit. This holiday season, capitalize on the fact that you can spend more time with family doing the things that you love with a Showman E-Bistro meal kit. Our meal kits are filled every single week with themed ingredients that take your taste buds all around the world. Now here's what you can do. Go to showmanebistro.com to place your order today for one of the weekly meal kits and to keep an eye out for the Showman E-Bistro Christmas meal kit. It's definitely going to bring joy to you and your family this holiday season. Now, I don't know about y'all, but my family does fight over the stuffing every single Christmas holiday. So today, I'm going to be showing you how to make my lobster stuffing, a variation to the lobster stuffing or any other stuffing that you are going to take to your family this holiday season. All right, everyone, the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to start by making our lobster stock, and we're going to actually just basically partially steam the lobster. So what you want to do is, I have 4 legally sized lobster tail pieces here, so that's 2 full lobster tails, and we are going to put them inside the pot just like this. And we're going to add just enough water to cover the bottom of it. Now, to this, we're going to put just a few pieces of celery stalks that we have just sitting and laying around because they're going to be making a broth using the celery. All right. You actually also want to take a piece of onion and throw it in here. And we are going to generously salt the stock water or the lobster, just like this. I'm going to throw in half of a head of garlic. Trust me, this is going to be really, really nice to put some thyme into this pot, just like this. Okay? I'm not putting a lot of butter, just a little bit. So we're going to bring this to a boil. And when we bring it to a boil, we're going to boil it until the lobster meat becomes a shade of white, not completely opaque. And we're going to leave the shells in the pot so that we can continue to simmer the stock. And maybe about 5 minutes later, ladies and gentlemen, you're going to see that our crawfish has come to the type of steam that we want it to come to. So I'm actually going to remove the tails, remove the meat from the tails, and then throw the shells back here into the pot. Come on out. Now we're going to throw the shells back into the pot. We're going to do this because all of the flavor that we want for the stock actually happens to be in the shells. Now that it's bubbling, I'm going to reduce this to a simmer, and we're going to let this simmer until the vegetables actually start to turn to mush. Let's take a look at our lobster stock. We can see the onions are very soft, so is the garlic, and I'm going to be careful with the garlic because I really, really want the garlic. We are going to remove and discard the shells and all of the other pieces that we no longer need. All right, now we're going to take this stock and we're going to kind of strain it just a little bit, okay? So you want to take it and you want to put it through a sieve, just like that. And this is where I'm going to try to push some of this garlic and onion through the sieve because I feel like this is so good. If it doesn't go through the sieve, then I'm just going to put it in the stock. You know why? Because it's the good stuff right here. So right there into the stock. Into the stock. Let me tell you something. The amount of flavor that is in here is crazy. About 2 tablespoons of lemon juice to this. No more. And this is the stock that we're going to be using in our lobster stuffing. Easy, right? Okay. I'm going to be using about half a cup of unsalted butter. So from here, we're actually going to add a cup of onions. Now I'm using a mixture of yellow onions as well as red onions. We're also going to add half a cup of sweet pepper. Now, if you use the colored sweet pepper, the taste is going to be sweeter. The green sweet peppers tend to be a bit more bitter, but you can tweak the taste just a little bit by making sure that you cook them out properly. And we're also going to add about a quarter cup of celery. Now, personally, I think that you can add more because celery really and truly gives the stuffing kind of a different type of sweet tartness. And we are going to allow these to kind of caramelize. Our aromatics have started to break down. So here's where we're going to add our tomato. Yes, I put tomato in stuffing because I want it to be nice and flavorful. And we're going to add some crushed garlic. Now to this, we're going to put in some thyme. If it's fresh, then that's fantastic. We got thyme inside our Showman E-Bistro kit. Now we're going to add a teaspoon of sage, a teaspoon of oregano, a tablespoon of dried tarragon. If you have fresh tarragon, then that is better. Fresh sage, that is better. And if we look, we see that our tomatoes are starting to break down. So when the tomatoes have broken down completely, we'll know it's time to move on to the second part of our lobster stuffing. Look here. This is what we're looking for when we say the tomatoes have broken down. All right? Y'all know all of those bread ends that nobody really love. And so you take them and you stick them in the freezer. Well, if you have your bread ends that are like that, this is the time for them to shine. Now, if you don't have stale bread, then what you want to do is you want to take your fresh bread and you want to put it in the toaster just a little bit so that it can toast, because otherwise it's not going to absorb all of the delicious buttery goodness. It's going to be a mushy kind of stuffing. And personally, especially as a side dish, I don't think stuffing should be mushy. And what you're going to do is you're going to break these down into kind of big chunks. You don't want them to be too tiny because then it's going to disintegrate. And you're going to notice that the butter is going to start absorbing into the bread. Got to get the butter coating all of the pieces of the bread. That lobster stock that we talked about a bit earlier is going to come into play right then and right there. Buttery stuffing. We're going to add a few more big pieces of thyme in here. A tablespoon, believe it or not, of dill weed. Okay? And if you have fresh dill, that's perfect. And now we're going to turn our stove off because we don't need our lobster to cook any further. And we're going to add our 2 cups of lobster meat. Now that the basics of our stuffing are together and we have our lobster broth, we are going to just kind of put this lobster broth all over our lobster stuffing, okay? And we're just going to incorporate that to make sure that every part of the stuffing has lobster in it. You're going to choose your favorite oven-safe dish and you are going to spoon your lobster stuffing into this dish. This is where you take your stuffing and you put it in an oven-safe dish and you stick it in the oven for no more than 10 minutes to broil. Keep in mind that everything is already cooked and you don't want the lobster to overcook because then it's going to be stringy and yucky. All right? You just want it to be nice and warm. Having said that, y'all, let's get this into the oven. I have about 6 cups of lobster stuffing, just ready for my friends and family. And of course, you know, when it comes down to delicious food, I got y'all covered. Here's what you're going to love about this lobster stuffing. This lobster stuffing, it is buttery. It has all of those caramelized aromatics, the onion, the yellow, and of course, the purple onion. It has the crunch of the celery. It has the sweet pepper, and of course, the tarragon, the thyme, the sage, and the garlic. They all mesh together in this deliciously buttery, soft, juicy kind of home style stuffing. Everybody likes stuffing. And so I gotta say, you bring this to the family cookout, you win. Now I know this Christmas they tell us, you know, don't have no big shebang. So when you have your family of 6 people, this is enough to feed everybody of that 6 people at least a 1 cup serving of stuffing, okay? And I'm gonna tell you, it is inexpensive, especially if you have all of the ingredients from your Showman E-Bistro meal kit. I can't wait to see what they do for Christmas. Speaking of that meal kit, I got this bottle of wine for $0 when I got my Showman meal kit. So this was in the wine themed meal kit that came before the Thanksgiving meal kit. And so I kind of saved wines and things like that. I started to drink it because it was good. Thank you so much for watching this episode of Bodine Pot. I'm Bodine Victoria, and it's been my pleasure having you in my kitchen. And of course, if you enjoyed this recipe, then I want you to go and try it. If you try it, tag me. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to press like, leave me a comment below. I want to know, plain, seafood, regular stuffing, how do you like your stuffing? And of course, if you see that this is going to benefit somebody that you know, let's say they can't cook or they learning to cook or they're interested in cooking, definitely share the video with them and subscribe to my channel. I'll be updating every Monday going forward as usual. And I want to say thank you guys so much for watching. Till next time, don't let any and everybody dig up in your pot. Oh, hold on. Whoop. You know what tastes good? When the lobster ain't rubbery, so it melts in your mouth. That's it.